Zerg player, formerly FXO, now FOU. It is LeenocK. And his opponent in the Northeast, with several second place finishes, looking for his first championship from Team Evil Geniuses, it is Jaedong.
Looks like an angry man, looks like an angry nerd already here. And this is the start of Jaedong's tournament. His first game here at the DreamHack Winter Finals, the conclusion of an epic year of StarCraft 2 within DreamHack Open. 4 fantastic stops being Stockholm, DreamHack Summer, DreamHack Valencia, then Bucharest before landing here in the DreamHack Winter Finals back in Jönköping once more. And we do have a very early pause in this game, so we will be jumping into it momentarily. Do you think Jaedong can win this tournament?
I think if anybody can, if anybody has the momentum behind them to carry them through it, Jaedong is certainly one of them. LeenocK, as we said, hasn't really been putting up quite the results that we might expect from a player of his caliber. He doesn't have quite that force of tournament results recently to really carry him with a good mindset into this. Of course, don't know quite what he's thinking, but if there's anybody you don't want to play in ZVZ, it's Jaedong.
That's right. Jaedong has been, you know, he's always been known for having an excellent Zerg versus Zerg. Back in his Brood War days, in StarCraft 2 as well, he gets the matchup. His control is fantastic, and he has a high win record. Unfortunately for him, that wasn't enough to carry him to a victory when he had to face off against Hyun in Valencia. But nevertheless, a new tournament, a new day, a new start here for Lee Jaedong at DreamHack Winter. And it is going to be a long tournament. 19 players, $75,000 on the line here. One of the biggest tournaments of the year. And well, it's time to get into Group D. These two players, LeenocK had a default win as his first game over Wellmu, unfortunately, who couldn't make it to the tournament due to sickness. And it is Jaedong's first game, so basically their first game each.
Yeah, and it's also important to consider for everybody in this group that because Wellmu wasn't in there, there's no fear of elimination from this particular group. So it all comes down to the seeding. The top 2 players in this group advance onto the winner's bracket, basically get an extra life in the bracket stage of the tournament, and the bottom 2 will fall into the loser's bracket where they're basically playing sudden death from the get-go.
Well, it's very, I mean, we talked about it, I don't know if you were there, but we talked about it a lot backstage, how important the seeding actually is. With the level of competition here, being first and second place can be the difference between playing life, MMA is first and second, and the other group can be the difference between Patience and Naniwa. It's a big, big difference depending on where you are seeded. Both players will be fighting for that, as you say, Wellmu not being in the group, which means 4 players will go through no matter what. But as we can see, the 2 builds, hatchery first, straight into spawning pool. No gas is taken yet, and this is actually something which has become ever so popular in the recent Zerg vs. Zerg game.
It's been interesting. There's, I think we saw a lot of this actually from some of the Zerg players, at least at the Intel Extreme Masters New York, where a lot of heavy gasless styles into roach-based compositions off of double evolution chamber with basically just a wall off the natural to keep your opponent away. And since both players are kind of going for this super late gas style, there's not really much of a way that either can punish the other.
And both of them are going to see it too. So with the first Overlord here from Jaedong that goes in and scouts, LeenocK's Overlord, actually where's LeenocK's Overlord, the first one? It actually went down south. Okay, so he actually has not gathered that information, which is very surprising because you'd usually be scouting up north first of all, very similar to what Jaedong just did. So in that regard, Jaedong is at an advantage because he is playing the exact same style his opponent is, but LeenocK has no idea about that. Jaedong can be even greedier than his opponent can be here.
Yeah, it's important to take into consideration that since Jaedong knows there's no real threat of an attack, this sort of style that is, you could commonly say is vulnerable to speedling timings, LeenocK still has to play with that possibility because Jaedong's not someone that does this every single game. Jaedong is a player that will occasionally open up with the gas and bring those fast Zergling Baneling attacks. LeenocK has a few Zerglings coming over to scout this, but shouldn't really be able to make it too far into Jaedong's base.
That's right. A couple of Queens should be able to block this off here, and already you can see the difference between the 2 players. A Spine Crawler, a defensive structure here because he doesn't know quite what's going on. A drone block there by Jaedong, preventing the scout. Furthermore, LeenocK is denied information. He must be starting to, you know, worry a little bit here, and I think he is with the Spine Crawler coming down, but still, no gas is being taken. He is opting purely for a mineral-only defense here, which will be, as you mentioned, a wall, Queens, Spine Crawler. Jaedong, though, he's actually going to take all 4 gases at once. There's no need to, you know, just take 2 gases here, 1 gas there. No, he'll drone up as intensively as he can, take all 4 gases, and have the best physical economy he could get.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about the aggression. There, as you say, all 4 gases being taken by Jaedong. LeenocK taking 2 in his main base, but like you said, he has to play a little bit more conservatively. The Zerglings from Jaedong trying to poke up the front. He sees the Spine Crawler, and even just seeing that as Jaedong, you're like, okay, well, that's a little bit comforting. You know he invested in that, and that's not going to be money that can go towards anything like drones or additional economy.
And he even sees the gas timing of his opponent. This is a perfect position for Jaedong to be in. Unfortunately, just from such a simple thing, an overload going in the wrong direction, Jaedong's found himself in a brilliant position where he's able to get double evolution chamber down. He's going to upgrade first. You know what? I don't even think he's going to get Zergling speed. Why the hell would you at this point? He just goes straight for your Roach upgrades, goes straight for the lair, and Jaedong is playing like there was not another player in this game. He's getting the best economy, he's getting the best upgrades, he'll have the strongest army, and this is all through just simple information that's been gathered.
And we see this as both players start the lair. Those evolution chambers are so much faster from Jaedong. Look at the gas that he has banked, as both players are in very similar infrastructure setups, but that little bit of extra earlier gas that Jaedong could squeeze out has that 1-1 starting just a bit sooner. We see that the Roach Warren is coming in for both players, and with the Queens blocking off, it's not like either of them have to worry about being attacked, but like you said earlier, LeenocK's actually getting his Zergling speed just in case. Yeah,
I mean, he's still not sure what Jaedong's going for at this point. He has no idea. And what that will also mean is that Jaedong will be able to take a faster third base, which we see now being planted down. And that's just slightly south of Jaedong's natural. Everything Jaedong is doing, he is doing it 30 seconds faster than his opponent. And that will always be the case until LeenocK starts to figure out what's exactly going on. And to be honest, I think that's starting to happen now. There's been no aggression. I mean, he can basically tell that this is the case, and unfortunately he's going to play a little bit from behind, just a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see once LeenocK kind of fully grasps the situation of the game, what kind of fine-tuned changes is he going to make to try to get himself back in or get a bit of an edge. 16 Zerglings on the production tab. He is getting that speed. I think sniping this third base could be a very big first step in trying to claw things towards being a bit more even.
If he gets the snipe on that base, he is ahead in the game, I'd say. Or at least would start to get ahead in the game. That's very important. But there's 14 Roaches out. This should not be the case. Let's see, though. Jaedong spots the Zerglings there with that overload, so he should be able to move his Roaches into position. And very easily should be able to deny this.
Yeah, he's coming in with the Zerglings, actually backing off against these Roaches, so not able to really find that foothold. The 1-1's also about to complete for Jaedong. Both players reasonably close in their Roach speed. We do see Burrow being researched for LeenocK, so he's going to have that option to either heal the Roaches faster or try to use some sort of surprise tactic play, maybe even for harassing the mineral lines with the Roaches. And Jaedong's coming up to bring some pressure. That Spine Crawler helping out quite a bit. The Queens are here to transfuse as well, and he's usually using the Overlord to drive a creep highway to his opponent's base just so his units can get there even a little bit faster.
Jaedong's looking for a bit of damage here. He's looking to see if he can do a lot. He's already been 30 seconds ahead for the majority of the game. Can he land a striking blow? He goes in, picks off a Queen. He's got to be careful not to get surrounded from those Zerglings. But as you said, a creep highway, a consistent wave of Roaches, very simply just coming across the map. He has a 10-20 supply difference. That's a good 10 Roaches difference because they're basically on the same drone count. A good lead here for Jaedong, but is he going to find the opportunity to break through somewhere?
That's the question. He's starting to step in towards the natural, actually using that burrow to try to save some of these Roaches with a little bit of micro as he does get a nice bit of an arc. Some of these Roaches moving around behind for Jaedong. He's just going to step forward, continuing to rally down this creep highway. Jaedong able to bring his own Queens for the transfuses and try to get a good position on here. The Roach count is so close between the two of these. Is the Queen going to be able to make enough of a difference with this push?
I think the first initial fight there wasn't the best for Jaedong, and LeenocK will push this back. It's such a small difference between both the players, and LeenocK seems to be holding on for now. Another retreat back as Spine Crawler moves down. Numbers very close if you look at the supply at the south side, but we do have LeenocK pushing ahead with an attack upgrade. If he's able to continue forward without losing a lot, remember he does have that burrow which he invested in, which also lowered his unit count. If he's able to get towards that +2, things could change.
I mean, it's really nice that he can just heal his roaches up a bit more quickly between the battles, as we can see some of these from Jaedong a little bit more scarred than LeenocK, and even that can be enough to survive a couple extra hits, but Jaedong's up here, he's got 2 queens and his overseer, he's just going for it, getting right on top of this army, continuing to rally forth. The roach count standing strong for LeenocK, actually, with a little bit of a lead, trying to force more out. He does have the defender's advantage despite the creep highway, and Jaedong's transfuses are not going to be enough. LeenocK shoves Jaedong back.
And I think this might be a bit of a game of tug and war now. LeenocK's winning. He's going to go to the other side of the map, and I think he's just going to go grab the win. Jaedong lost way too much. This is a mirror matchup when you have almost identical setups when it comes to the unit count here. One big swing, one big difference between the both of them. It can mean everything, especially with that +2. It has been slowed down by Contaminate for a little bit here, but LeenocK has taken a massive lead, and unfortunately Jaedong, who was the aggressor with his lead, did not find a weakness, did not find a hole, and to be honest, made a couple of engagement mistakes would have given LeenocK the lead.
Yeah, he's trying to just press in now using the sheer numbers advantage that he has. 40 roaches versus 21. LeenocK, he's just got so much more than Jaedong pressing in. There's not too much he can do about this. He's trying to put up additional roaches, but that +2, as he said, it's going to be done first for LeenocK, and he's just going to swath forward, even getting the tunneling claws so he can get past any defenses. GG, LeenocK take
Legends, other games, I won't even name them all.
There's too many to keep track of, but we're here. It's time for game number 2, spawning in the bottom right position of Belshir Vestige, the red Zerg player, down 0-1 after he secured himself a bit of a lead from Team Evil Geniuses. It is Jaedong. Trying to come back, and his opponent in the northwest, the blue Zerg from Team FOU, it is LeenocK.
And if you are just now tuning in, thank you very much for joining us here live from Jönköping in Sweden. So far, we've completed Group A and Group B here. We had Patience, the Azubu Protoss player who qualified online, going through in first place in Group A, alongside Naniwa, who was joined by Hyun and TLO, the first 4 players to make it through. In Group B, we had StarTale Life in first place, followed by MMA, then JYP and Pult as the other 4 players. And now we're in Group D. Group C being played simultaneously on stage, and we're trying to find the next 8 players to make it through. In each of the groups, the top 2 make it to the winners bracket in the double elimination playoffs tomorrow, and the bottom 2, the 3rd and 4th place, do make it down to the loser bracket. All to play for here in the early stages of this group.
We've seen some fantastic level of competition so far. It's really been incredible, and to your point, that Group B, Stardust, a DreamHack champion this year, already being knocked out in the group stages, just kind of shows you the level of play we have here, the caliber of StarCraft 2 gamers that have come. And it's been a great tournament so far.
It's been an excellent tournament, and I'm sure it's only going to get better. If we look at the differences now between these 2 players, well, there are none. They've both opened up for the spawn and pull into the hatchery. It's a little bit of a safer build compared to game number 1, where they both opted hatchery first, because if there were any early spawn and pull builds, any early gas builds, they're much more comfortable. They're going to have a queen out earlier. They're going to have that Zergling production earlier. It's just a safer opening from both.
Just don't want to take too many risks, really. It's a much smaller map than Whirlwind. If you go for those early aggressive plays, as you mentioned, it's take you a little bit less time to get to your opponent's base and bring that pressure. And the Overlord's going to confirm the timings of these hatcheries for both players. They're both very well aware of what's happening. And something that we're seeing that's a bit of a change-up, the fast gas for both of these players as compared to Whirlwind. There's a possibility we get much more of a, I guess you could say, older standard of Zerg versus Zerg, where it's just that Zergling Baneling style.
LeenocK has opted to pull his Overlord away instead of going inside the main base, of course worried about the Queen coming out, which means he's got a safe Overlord, but he scouted no information about the gas. Compared to Jaedong, who I think actually did go inside the main base there. He didn't quite see the gas. I'm wondering if he did see the drones transferring or not, but from what we can see, no information has been gathered by both the players, but we are going to have Zergling speed research. We're probably going to see Baneling S come down, but are we going to see aggression?
I mean, as far as either of these players go, I really think either one could get aggressive with Zerglings or Banelings if they really wanted to. Jaedong's trying to get a few Zerglings into LeenocK's base to get that read, and he will see the gas. He sees the geyser. He sees that Zergling speed on the way as well. And he also sees that the gas is still being mined, so there's that potential you could get that Baneling nest pretty quickly. And likewise, LeenocK gets the same read on his opponent.
No, they know they're in exactly the same position. They've opened up with the same build. They've got the gas at the same time. They've got Zergling speed at the same time. And they have the exact same amount of gas being brought in. To be honest, if I'm both of these players, I would prefer to take the defensive stance. If I have the same as you do, but I'm being defensive, I have a queen to help me out. I may have a spine crawler to help me out, and also have the exact same amount of attacking units that you have here. Usually in this position, we will see both players play defensive, but in that odd case where somebody thinks the other may cut corners, not get a spine crawler, not have the correct amount of gas spent on Banelings, we could see someone be aggressive. And so far, it looks like it could be Jaedong. He's going up to 14 Zerglings here, while LeenocK's going to have to play the defensive player. He's taking another gas. He's looking to tech up. He's going to have to morph Banelings defensively. Can Jaedong crack him is the big question now.
That is the question. He has the Baneling nest complete. LeenocK's will follow in turn very soon, but Jaedong already has the Banelings morphing outside of LeenocK's base. He spots this with his Overlord moving towards the third base, so he has the information. He knows that there's some sort of attack coming. There's a potential that this wouldn't do too much, but his Overlords see these Zerglings spreading across the map, and he does try to snipe these Banelings. Very nice catch to pick off one very early on, and the second Baneling doesn't look like it'll be able to get too much done either.
No, it doesn't look like it, but Jaedong's not investing too much. He's actually taking another gas and drone behind this, so minimal investment from Jaedong, and he's actually taking a drone lead. As you can see in the bottom, 39 to 32. Minimal investment by Jaedong, which means he has to now play defensive. A spine crawler's coming down. LeenocK's got 20 Zerglings in. These Links, are they even going to get caught here? Oh, they do escape there. But now Jaedong is the one on the defensive stance because he has the higher drone count and LeenocK has the higher unit count.
Yeah, LeenocK, it looks to be just pressing his advantage. Jaedong starting his lair as more and more Zerglings continue to stream across the map. This is a bit of a dangerous situation. That Spine Crawler, as you mentioned, is about 10 seconds away. LeenocK morphing more Banelings. He's bringing out 10 of them outside of Jaedong's base. He's just going to try to push him right through now.
Jaedong must survive this. He's trying to go up to lay. He's adding on so many Spine Crawlers. Can he do it? Otherwise, LeenocK could take a very swift 2-0 here. So far, so good. Is it going to be the Stockholm champion that can take the first series of the day in Group D?
Takes out the first Spine Crawler. He has more and more Banelings coming through, trying to get a decent trade. Picks off a few more of the Zerglings. There's still a lot here for both players, all coming down to which one of them can get the better spot. The Banelings for LeenocK, and Jaedong's mineral line gets a good split to dodge them, not losing too much just yet. And it looks like Jaedong, for the most part, has staved this attack off. The Banelings do manage to grab a couple of drones on the tail end, though.
Excellent defense there from EG's Jaedong. But one thing to note is that there's still a lot of units out for both players, but Jaedong's lair has completed, which means he can throw down the Spire now. His opponent has only just started his lair. He's way, way behind and is also now in the defensive stance. A successful defense from Jaedong, and well, he's in a lead at the moment.
A couple Banelings try to get some shots off. Nothing big for LeenocK just yet. As you said, he's just kind of jockeying for this position. Does take out another Baneling without too much trouble. Jaedong that's a pretty nice hit for LeenocK there to clean up a large chunk of this, and I think that's going to signal basically the end of Jaedong's aggression. Now, as you stated, that Spire's on the way. He's droning quite heavily, and I guess it comes down to a game of who can get that third base.
It signals the end of the aggression period, but let's compare each other. Jaedong has a Spire halfway done, the layer's not finished yet, and Jaedong's been mining gas on his natural for a lot longer than LeenocK. So once all the aggression has been done and dealt with, Jaedong has quite a big lead, I'd say. He's able to go move out and take his third base. He may not be able to keep it alive. And as you described, we now enter the stage of the game where both players will try to attack and defend their respective third bases.
And LeenocK has his on the way. Already Zerglings here to try to kill this drone off of Jaedong. Not able to start that third hatchery just yet. Jaedong also bringing the creep spread of these Overlords, try to get his queens out to the third faster, potentially. As Jaedong himself tries to get on top of this third base, sees that it's already on the way for LeenocK. The Spire's about to finish for Jaedong. He's got about almost 600 gas banked up. This Baneling with these Zerglings going to try to defend this hatchery as much as possible. Does get a solid hit, and LeenocK, his third base is intact for now.
It's intact, and Jaedong's has not been built yet. Third base is quite important. Those 5th and 6th gases increase the meter count, of course, the faster you get them. So they are important in this game, but it is Jaedong first out the gate with 4 meterless, 5 meterless, and the carapace upgrade already being researched. A natural timing will happen in this game, while Jaedong will have a upgrade higher than his opponent, but still, the contest for the third bases continues.
I mean, LeenocK has a lot of Zerglings with some Banelings to defend back home. Jaedong start taking a lot of damage. The Banelings, though, if they connect properly, could take out a lot of these forces of cancel, however.
So we're
hatchery
neutralized.
picked off. Yeah.
They both picked off their third bases. They're still on 2-2. Jaedong still leads in that regard. He's got more Mutalisks. They're out faster.
Yeah, and I mean, these Mutalisks are starting to get onto the field. He can start to poke away at these Overlords on the map. Can also use them, of course, to defend against these Zergling attacks. A little bit difficult, but should be able to buy himself that time he needs as he does, well, start cleaning them up. He's starting the third hatchery. He's just going to try to kill it under the Mutas. Does force another cancel. LeenocK's third is up again.
He doesn't get the drone.
Barely just one hit point that drone makes it out with.
So far, I'd still edge the lead a little bit in favor of Jaedong, but it is a very close game. A very high-skilled, very good game from both sides so far. But with Jaedong having the Mutalisks out a little bit earlier, he was killing the Overlords faster. But now it looks like the stage of denying each other's third base is almost been and gone. You know, the Mutalisks can out, and now we go into the Mutalisk stage. Mutalisk versus Mutalisk, and the player that takes map control is going to be the player that dictates the game. For example, Jaedong can send Mutalisk to the third, but if his opponent doesn't see them, what happens if links go to the main? We're going to see deviation with units now in lots of different angles.
And you know, something very important that you mentioned earlier was that Jaedong was mining that gas a little bit sooner. Getting in now on top of the third base. He's got the Mutalisk count lead. It's going to be difficult for LeenocK to engage against this. He doesn't even need to use his Mutalisks. He can just pick the hatchery off. Not even a cancel for LeenocK. And Jaedong, now he has to just go back and defend his own respective third base as LeenocK has his own Zerglings going headed there.
Can he defend it, though? If not, it goes back to a 2-base versus 2-base, and I think he can't. It's close. It's going to be close.
He's getting in on top of them. Of course, no upgrades on these Zerglings. The Mutas are going to try to land their strength, but forces another cancel. The drone not able to make it out this time around, and Jaedong has to go from building these gas geysers to restarting that third once again.
Yeah, okay. So both players keeping on denying each other's third, but at the end of the day, what's the Mutalisk count between the two players now? 16 to 13, so it's just, 16 to 13, so 300 gas difference, 3 Mutalisk difference. That's all that's in it at this moment. But Jaedong has an attack planned on the right-hand side. I guess apart from the 300 gas difference, he has map control. He's actually going to bring his opponent towards his main, and naturally he's going to send links to the third. A beautiful two-way attack has been set up here from Jaedong. Will it be successful? Can he distract his opponent where he can get those links to the third? If he can, he might get a cancel.
It's going to be difficult to press in, at least this many Mutalisks and Queens. But another thing to point out, as these Zerglings do come through, he's got a Baneling and some Lings of his own to try to defend against this. The Mutalisks are in position as well. Jaedong's just going to try to take this fight. He needs to be super careful with these Queens, but that's when I point out that Jaedong actually, you said map control. He still has Overlords on the map. LeenocK, every speck of vision he had on this map has been erased because Jaedong got his Mutalisks out faster than his opponent. Yeah,
Jaedong needs to capitalize on that. That's a big advantage he has, now thinking about it a little bit more. He's able to move around the map with his opponent not knowing exactly where he is at any point. Look at this. LeenocK has no idea. And Jaedong's on the right-hand side. He could get to that third. Are the Queens marching across, by the way? Yes. So with the Queens marching across, there will be a big attack coming out from LeenocK. And a good defense here.
And Jaedong trying to press that third base, but this is
a big attack coming out.
The Queen March of Death. But these Zerglings for Jaedong, they should be able to get on top of this third base. There's not too much left here for LeenocK, and the Mutas themselves can deny this, but I think he's starting to anticipate that this aggression is coming. There's no Spore Crawler by Jaedong's own third base. Immediately takes out the drones, mining that gas, preventing him from getting that lead.
The Queens, I think he could get to the Queens. I don't think he saw them there. Ooh, I think he could have killed them all there.
It's a very, very tense situation with these Queens. It's like the slowest push ever. But he does get the surround on the third hatchery, picks off LeenocK's third, so this is it. He's all in with Queen Mutalisk.
Yeah, so the difference, what's the Mutalisk difference between the two right now? It must be so close. 27 to 21. Is 6 Mutalisk a difference big enough where the Queens become invalid? That's the big question here, because there's going to be transfuses. They'll deal damage. They'll soak damage. That's the big question for this.
I mean, the important thing to consider is that even though Jaedong's going to be the one defending against this, he doesn't have that many Queens of his own, but if he can attack away from LeenocK's Queens, that could help. Still running Zerglings towards the third, trying to pressure the natural. No luck there, but this is it. This incredibly slow-moving tram has found its way here.
1-1 versus just 0-1 upgrades as well. Jaedong has an upgrade advantage. Are the Queens going to make the difference to give LeenocK a 2-0?
So many of these Queens have high levels of energy. Trying to focus them down. Does grab one. This is where the Zerglings become so crucial. And Jaedong taking this fight, but the transfuses are already starting to drop. We see the Mutalisk count still favoring the EG player. And he's starting to pick apart this LeenocK force. There's no Zerglings to protect these Queens. And he's just going to completely attack through. GG, Jaedong ties the series 1-1.
Pull first place finishes across the board from MLGs to IPL to DreamHack. He's won across all 3 big tournaments that have been within StarCraft 2. Without a GSL win, unfortunately, just the GSL final. But let's look at the builds. We have by the looks of it. No, okay, we haven't. Sorry, I was going to say maybe a temple coming out there, but no, it is just going to be the 3 drones straight after the Overlord. So, is it hatch first or spawn and pull first? Is Jaedong going to play conservative to protect what he may feel is rightfully his this series, the way it's been played out so far? Or are we going to see a bit of a gamble come in by one of them?
It's really hard to tell. Both of these players are so strong and confident, not only in their normal StarCraft play, but this matchup in particular. I think if you're feeling that strong about a matchup, nothing wrong with making the confident play that you can hold off opponent's aggression. Both players going hatchery first.
All right, so there we have it. None of them are afraid of any attacks. If they were, they don't get the next drone as well. They're saying, if I'm going to go hatchery first, I might as well add on a couple of drones as well. I'm already gone for the hatchery first, and we do see Jaedong add 2 extra drones, and then should be getting his spawn and pull next, whereas opponent just added on 1 extra, and then the spawn and pull. So the difference between the both is that we just have a little bit of a faster spawn and pull here, but Jaedong was willing to go 2 extra drones, the extractor, and then the spawn and pull as well.
A very late gas. Jaedong going for hatchery, gas, then pool, kind of leaves this, I feel like there's this potential here for him to bring a little bit of early aggression that can maybe punish a gas and so. These hatcheries.
There's so much noise in my ears right now. Whew. Sorry, Nathanius. I'm not sure what's going on, but it doesn't sound too good. I can't even hear you anymore, mate. I don't know what's going on at all. But we do have this, the extractor. So we have speed first coming out from Jaedong. With speed coming out faster, that will be able to maybe dictate a bit of the pace of the game a little bit more here. But we see a similar style from LeenocK like we saw in game number 1. No gases, much, much heavier on the economy.
Sort of discussed with the scouting that Jaedong had in the first map, where he was able to see that LeenocK was playing a similar style to him, not being able to get that kind of a read. As we see, none of the Overlords have really made it into the opposing main bases. These Zerglings will try to get some scouting information, but I feel like this is a situation where if Jaedong knew what his opponent was doing, there's a bit of potential for him to try to bring that aggressive play that we kind of talked about as being a threat. One of the things that LeenocK actually prepared for on Whirlwind with that early spine crawler, with the delayed 3rd and 4th gas.
Am I back? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, I think I'm back. I know there's a lot of strange noises and a lot of people touching me. That came out wrong.
I'm sorry.
All right, Nathanius, I'm not going to lie. I haven't followed this game very closely, unfortunately.
All right, well, we
Help
got...
me. Help. All right, so Hyun is not in this game, but LeenocK is. See, I'm trying to keep it together now. Double evolution chambers are going to come down from LeenocK. I've got a handheld mic now. Okay, how are you doing, Nathanius?
I'm feeling pretty good. This game's been,
I'm doing really well.
This game's chugging along. Nothing too crazy happening just yet. Jaedong's decided to opt for the very fast 3rd base, getting a quick +1 attack for his roaches as well as that roach one with the lair. So I feel like Jaedong's kind of, he's the one that's kind of starting to lean a bit more towards this greedy style despite not opening with the gasless setup that LeenocK had.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But the lair is starting now. It will be okay. +1 attack starts for LeenocK as well. So both players seem to be doing the differences in openings, and they're kind of headed towards the same direction.
Yes. Again, I will agree with what you're saying. The difference between the two players, there is a 4 difference drone count difference for LeenocK here. I mean, LeenocK's style and the way that he's playing this out, I think is pretty good. With the double upgrades coming out, he's been untouched throughout this game so far, unlike I have. But LeenocK, without going untouched, is actually in a pretty decent position, I'd say. With a higher supply count, with the upgrades that he has, there's going to be multiple timings that he can hit against the style that Jaedong's playing. Only one evolution chamber, 1 upgrade. the thing that's on Jaedong, as you're getting touched now, the thing that Jaedong has is that he has a much stronger economy because he's on 3 hatcheries, a better production. He can actually race forward when it comes to his drone count. But are the upgrades from LeenocK here, when they're completed, does that offer him a timing which he could pick up the game with?
I think it's important to consider that not only is the upgrade, it's double upgrades for LeenocK basically. So while Jaedong will have a faster +1, I feel like with a little bit more time, LeenocK gets a slight edge as far as that goes. But this third base being up so much faster for Jaedong, I feel like since he's already saturated on it, this is one of those things that can really snowball economically into a huge lead later on.
Well, the thing is that LeenocK's going to have a stronger army. He may have a larger army. He's definitely going to have a strong one with the upgrades. But is there going to be enough time in this game for Jaedong to catch up with the economy? Because not with his economy, but with his economy to have a better army, to have a stronger army. And right now, LeenocK is moving across the map. Roach Speed's about to finish. 1-1 will finish as well, so he will have an upgrade advantage over Jaedong with this carapace.
But look at the supply differences. It is in favor of Jaedong. He has more roaches than his opponent.
I feel like with the timing that he was able to get on his third base, it's paying off really, really well. It's kind of one of those risks that you take to try to spread them out. It's not like he had a massive drone lead, but by being able to separate them and take advantage of the saturation so much faster, I feel like it's kind of nullified the potential that LeenocK had to hit a timing to punish the third base.
And unfortunately, if that's going to that's going to mean here that Jaedong has better upgrades eventually get into this game. He's going to have Hydras. He's going to have a better composition. The quality of his armies is going to be stronger. He's actually going to take a 4th base. And throughout all static noises and microphone problems, Jaedong has pulled ahead in this game. And with a 15 supply difference, I think he is in a comfortable position here, I'd say.
Yeah, I had to say, when you look at ZVZ, the player that can jump into the Hydralisk setup first, you know, that extra bit of damage. As long as you have the roaches in front of your Hydralisks, the attack rate they have, how well the upgrades scale for the Hydralisks can give a huge lead in just head-on engagements, especially since they have the range to shoot over the roaches. More of Jaedong's army will be able to attack faster by getting these Hydralisks in so much sooner. And LeenocK's actually gone for the burrow again. He's getting the tunneling claws upgrade for the roaches as well. So we could see him stick to a very heavy roach-based composition for a while, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like it. With all his money really going into his upgrades here. 2-2. Eventually, when he gets to 2-2, he will have a 2 upgrade advantage over his opponent. Not just 1, but 2 when it comes to his carapace. His armor is going to be stronger here, but is that going to be enough to capitalize on the fact that his opponent has Hydralisks? But then also consider that there's Roach Burrow, there's Roach Movement, and Roach Regeneration here. The roaches that LeenocK have are going to be able to heal in fights. He can move them, well, 2 Hydralisks get picked off there very easily. So this is a dangerous army that LeenocK has.
Yeah, it's really interesting because if he can get a head-on engagement with the Hydralisks and he actually fight this, then he has a nice play because his army just does more damage. But the speed and maneuverability of LeenocK's armies, he's actually attacking into these spine crawlers as well as the main force for LeenocK. And Jaedong's holding strong in supply. He's remaxing behind this into pure roach. But these Hydralisks are just dealing so much extra damage to this force. LeenocK's going to burrow and try to regenerate his health, but
that +2 attack did finish, but the +2 armor won't, that's for sure. And as long as these Hydras get behind the roaches here, this is a good fight for Jaedong, and he may be able to take the series here. It looks like it may be coming to an end, Thaddeus.
And these Hydras just do so much damage, even without the roaches there. There's just so many of them, especially with this high ground advantage to help push through. Now we see those Hydralisks, as you stated, moving behind. They're covered under the blanket of Overlords. Can't even see them anymore. And LeenocK sending everything he's got, even pulling these drones off of the line, but they're not going to be enough to shove this back. Jaedong now up 140 supply to sub 100. LeenocK has to rebuild his Roach Warren. His +2 carapace might finish, but what is he going to have to give the armor to? Jaedong just rallying everything absolutely forward.
Queens!
And there's not much he's going to be able to do with it.
No, not a lot. GG!
Jaedong takes the 2-1 victory.